I finish this, read it.
Because I left before you finished.
You see how late I am, so it's always like that. So I'm just trying to finish this. I think I may finish it today. I have. If you guys will sit an extra few minutes, I have only 50. I have 50 verses left. I read 50 yesterday. I should be able to finish it. Is this on? Okay. Let's see. All right. Bandeyam Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shikam Vitamscha Om Agyana Timaranda Shagana Chanasha Lakaya Shakshurunaitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gaurava Bhistam Supurakam Guragana Rasisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chantya Samastaveda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govindam Vidam Ujjalam Bharatanam Bhaktiyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noi Bija Pranam. Can you leave the scraps if we're going to?
Kava has it.
Oh, okay. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila, chapter 20, the Sikshastika prayers. So we're at text number 102. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is now concluding the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's concluding the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Ebayantya lila ganar kore anubad koile pai lila rashwad. Now let me repeat all the pastimes of the Antya Lila, for if I do so, I shall taste the pastimes again. So now he's going to give a resume of all the 20 chapters of the Antya Lila. Pratama parichede ruper dvitiya milan taramadye dui nata kera vidan shravan. The first chapter describes how Srila Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the second time in Jagannath Puri, and how the Lord heard his two dramas, Vidagya Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Taramadye Shivananda Sange Kur Aila Prabhutare Krishna Kahaya Mukta Korila. That chapter also describes the incident of Shivananda Sen's dog, who was induced by Mahaprabhu to chant the holy name of Krishna and thus liberated. So that's the dog that went with the Sankirtan party from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. Dvitiye Chota Haridas Korela Shikan Taramadya Shivananda Ascharya Darshan. The second chapter tells how the Lord instructively punished Chota Haridas. Also in that chapter is a description of the wonderful vision of Shivananda Sen. Tritiye Haridasir Mahima Prachanda Damodara Pandita Koila Prabhure Bhakyadanda. In the third chapter is a description of the forceful glories of Haridas Thakur. That chapter also mentions how Damodar Pandit spoke words of criticism to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu Nama Diya Koila Brahmanda Mochan Haridas Korila Namer Mahima Stapan. The third chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered everyone by bestowing upon the universe the holy name of the Lord, and it describes how Haridas Thakur established the glories of the holy name by his practical example. Okay. Texto 108. Okay? Texto 108. If you do that at the same time, is this logged onto the internet?
Yeah.
Okay, but Our transmission is a little slow, so having that working, it'll slow down the transmission and may make it stutter.
Okay, so I'll turn it off. I just wanted to see how the sound was, but it's okay now. I was just checking on the sound, but
Okay.
I'll turn it off now.
Okay. Okay. Chaturte Shri Sanatana Dvitiya Milan Dehotyaga Koil Hoile Tara Korila Rakan. The fourth chapter describes. Okay. Okay, first I have to do 107 first. I think I skipped that. Prabhunama Diya Koila Brahmanda Mochan Haridas Korila Namer Mahimastapan. The third chapter also tells how Mahaprabhu delivered everyone by bestowing upon the universe the holy name of the Lord, and it describes how Haridas Thakur established the glories of the holy name by his practical example. Chaturte Shri Sanatanara Dvitiya Milan Dehotyaga Hoite Tara Korila Rakan. The fourth chapter describes Sanatana Goswami's second visit to Mahaprabhu and how the Lord saved him from committing suicide. Okay. Jaishtamas Radupe Tare Koila Parikan Shakti Sancharya Puna Pataila Brindavan. That chapter was Sanatana Goswami visited. Sanatana Goswami had a disease on his body that emanated some foul liquid and would touch Mahaprabhu's body, and Sanatana Goswami wanted to commit suicide, but Mahaprabhu said, "You have already given your body to my service, so you can't destroy what belongs to me. It doesn't belong to you." And then he cured Sanatana Goswami also. So, Jaishta Masara Dupe Tare Koila Parikan Shakti Sanchariya Puna Pataila Vrindavan. The fourth chapter also tells how Sanatana Goswami was tested in the sunshine of Jaishta, May, June, and then empowered and sent back to Vrindavan. Okay. Panchame Pradyumna Mishre Prabhu Kripa Korila Rayadwara Krishna Gata Tare Shunaila. The fifth chapter tells how the Lord showed his favor to Pradyumna Mishra and made him hear topics of Krishna from Ramananda Roy. Taramadye Bangala Kabir Nataka Upekhan Swarup Gosai Koila Vigrahera Mahima Stapan. That chapter also describes how Swarup Damodar rejected the drama of a poet from Bengal and established the glories of the deity. Shashte Raghunath Das Prabhure Milila Nityananda Agyaya Chira Mahotsava Koila. The sixth chapter describes how Raghunath Das Goswami met Mahaprabhu and performed the chip rice. As I said, chira means actually like rice flakes that we take chira and do it. But the sixth chapter describes how Raghunath Das Goswami met Mahaprabhu and performed the chipped rice festival in accordance with Nityananda Prabhu's order. That's the Chir Dahi festival. Now, all these incidents, exception maybe one or two details, I remember all these chapters because we've just read the whole Antya Leela, but I feel it would very much extend the volume of this discourse by repeating everything in detail. So I'm just going to finish the book, and I'm not saying that, but those who have some interest in what's going on in this chapter and who don't know these incidents, they're recommended to just read the Antya Leela again. Okay. Right. Damodar Swarup Thai Tare Samarpila Govardhan Shila Gunjamala Tare Dila. That chapter also tells how the Lord entrusted Raghunath Das Goswami to the care of Swarup Damodar and gave Raghunath Das the gift of a stone from Govardhan Hill, Shila, and a garland of Gunjamala. Gunjamala looks like small berries. They're red and white, and they're represents Srimati Radharani. So he gave them a Gunjamala and a Govardhan Shiva. Raghunath Das Goswami. Saptama Parichede Balava Bhatter Milan Nanamate Koilatara Garba Kandan. The sixth chapter also tells, how Mahaprabhu met Vallabha Bhatta and dismantled his false pride in various ways. The seventh chapter. The seventh chapter tells how Mahaprabhu met Vallabha Bhatta and dismantled his false pride in various ways. Ashtame Ramachandra Puri Ragaman Tarabaye Koila Prabhu Bika Sankochan. This chapter describes the arrival of Ramachandra Puri and how Mahaprabhu minimized his eating due to fear of him. Navame Gopinath Patanayaka Mochan Sri Jagat Thera Lok Prabhur Paila Darshan. Thank you, Divisha. In the 9th chapter is a description of how Gopinath Patanayaka was delivered and how the people of the three worlds were able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's by three ways of seeing Mahaprabhu: by his direct darshan, by his, which is shakshat, then there's empowering someone, that's avesh, shakti-avesh, and then there's by entering into someone, or acting through someone, or being present. Well, no, Shakti-avesh is more acting through someone, but also Mahaprabhu could be called Avirbhav. He could be present, but not everybody could see him. Only a person, only a select person, or only select devotees would see him. So that way of Avirbhav, he's always present. Where Sachimata is offering food to Nimai, he's also present. He's also present where Nityananda Prabhu is dancing, and also where in the Srivasangam where they're doing kirtan every night, and then he's present in the place where Raghava Pandit. He's doing deity worship, so he's always there, and he also was present for Nisringananda Brahmachari. Could also call upon Mahaprabhu in that way. The 9th chapter is a description of how Gopinath, let's see, Navame Gopinath Patanyayaka Mojan Sri Jagateral Lok Prabhu Paila Darshan. And the 9th chapter is a description of how Gopinath Patanayaka was delivered and how the people of the three worlds were able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dashame Kohilon Bhakta Datta Ashtadan Raghava Pandit Tahan Jalir Sajan. In the 10th chapter I have described how Mahaprabhu tasted the food given by his devotees, and I have also described the assortment of prasadam in the bags of Raghava Pandit. That was taken by Mahaprabhu, made by Raghava Pandit's sister. They're called Raghavera Jali, but it's made by Damayanti, his sister. Taramadje Govindara Koila Parikan, Taramadje Pare Munda Nritya Ravarnan. Also in that chapter is a description of how the Lord examined Govinda and how he danced in the temple. Yeah.
So this is the 20th chapter of Vanchalila, and it's a summary of all the chapters.
Well, this is the end of the chapter. This chapter is called the Sikshastic Prayers, right. And we've already been through the Sikshastic Prayers, and this is just the ending of the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is giving a resume of what we've already read, just the Antya Lila. Okay. Ekadashi, because there are 20 chapters of the Antya Lila, and we're in the 20th chapter. Ekadashi Haridas Thakur Ni Niyana Bhakta Vatsalya Jahan Dekaila Gora Bhagavan. The 11th chapter describes the disappearance of Haridas Thakur and how Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord himself, showed his affection for his devotees. Or Dwarashe Jagananandar Thaila Banjan Nityananda Koila Shivanandare Taran. In the 12th chapter are a description of how Jaganananda Pandit broke a pot of sandalwood oil and how Mahaprabhu chastised Shivananda said. No, pardon me. In the 12th chapter are descriptions of how Jaganananda Pandit broke a pot of sandalwood oil and how Lord Nityananda chastised Shivananda Sen by kicking him. Trayodashe Jaganananda Mathura Jai Aila Mahaprabhu Deva Dashir Gita Shunila. The 13th chapter tells how Jaganananda Pandit went to Mathura and returned, and how Mahaprabhu by chance heard a song sung by a Devadasi dancing girl. He was running towards, just hearing the song of Jayadev Goswami, and Mahaprabhu was mad after the sound, didn't know it was a man or woman, was running towards to the singer, and Govinda kind of caught him by force and stopped him. And Mahaprabhu said, "You saved my life." So he was going to embrace the singer. Raghunath Bhattacharya Tahai Milan Prabhu Tari Kripa Kore Pataila Vrindavan. Also in the 13th chapter is an account of how Raghunath Bhatta met Mahaprabhu, who by his causeless mercy sent him to Vrindavan. Raghunath Bhatta was the son of Tapan Mishra. He came to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu told him, "Don't get married and just take care of your old father and mother." And when they passed away, then Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan. He became Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Mahaprabhu had known him as a boy when he visited Benares or Kashi, Varanasi. That's all Benares. Chaturdase Divyodmara Aramba Varnan Shadireta Prabhur Manakela Vrindavan. The 14th chapter describes the beginning of the Lord's spiritual trance, in which his body was at Jagannath Puri, but his mind was in Vrindavan. Taramadje Prabhur Simidware Patan Asti Sandhi Tyaga Anubhaver Udgama. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down in front of the Simidwar gate of the Jagannath temple. His bones separated at the joints, and how various transcendental symptoms awakened in him. Chatak Parvata Deki Prabhu. And all these incidents where Mahaprabhu's body goes through all these physical, changes, like how his bones become separated, or how his limbs are drawn back into his body like a turtle, and all that. They're all accompanied by Mahaprabhu going into a state of deep absorption in Radha Krishna Vrindavan Leela. Either observing it or directly participating in it. And he goes through all these exaggerated physical transformations, but he's absorbed in internal vision all the time. Shataka Parva Deki Prabhur Davan Taramaje Prabhur Kichu Pralapavanan. Also in that chapter is a description of how Mahaprabhu ran toward Chatak Parvat and spoke like a man-man. Chatak Parvat is like a sand dune, and Mahaprabhu mistook it for Govardhan and ran towards it. Panchadasa Parichede Udyana Vilase Vrindavana Brahmi Jahan Korila Praveshe. Panchadasa Parichede Udyana Vilase Vrindavana Brahmi Jahan Korila Praveshe. In the 15th chapter is a description of how Mahaprabhu entered a garden on the seashore and mistook it for Vrindavan. Taramadje Prabhur Panchendriya Akarshan Taramadje Korila Rase Krishna Anbeshan. In that chapter is a description of the attraction of Mahaprabhu's 5 senses to Krishna and how he searched for Krishna in the rasa dance. So all his senses are being attracted by Krishna, and he describes it as a horse being pulled in 5 different directions towards Krishna, the smell of Krishna's body, towards the hearing of his flute, towards the fresh, the cooling touch of Krishna. Like all these different senses engaging with Krishna, and he feels like his body is being pulled apart. Shodashe Kalidase Prabhu Kripa Korila Vaishnava Chishta Kaivara Faladekaila. The 16th chapter tells how Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Kalidas and thus demonstrated the result of eating the remnants of the food of Vaishnavas. And as Kalidas had eaten the remnants of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal, whether they're Brahmins or Shudras, didn't matter, he's taking the remnants, and then Mahaprabhu gave him his own remnants where he's washing his feet. Mahaprabhu didn't allow anyone else to drink that water, but he allowed Kalidas to drink that. So he showed the importance of taking remnants of the Vaishnavas, water that has washed the feet of a Vaishnava, or dust that is the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Shivanandar, Balake, Shloka, Koraila, Simandwari, Dwari, Prabhure, Krishna, Dekaila. It also describes how Shivananda's sons composed a verse and how the doorkeeper of the Simandwar showed Krishna the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Shivananda's son was just a little boy, but he composed a Sanskrit verse that was very beautiful. And the doorkeeper showed Jagannath to Mahaprabhu, and the doorkeeper would say, "Let your eyes feast upon this is the best of all lords, Krishna." And he's like that, Mahaprabhu, very ecstatically. Mahaprasad Tahan Mahima Varnila Krishna Dharam Ritera Falash Shloka Ashwadila. Also in that chapter, the glories of Mahaprasadam are explained in a verse is tasted describing the effect of nectar from the lips of Krishna. Saptadashe Gabi Madhye Prabhurpatan Kormakara Anubhavir Tahai Udgam. The 17th chapter recounts how Mahaprabhu fell among the cows of Tailanga and assumed the form of a tortoise as his ecstatic emotions awakened. So when a cow shed and he was experiencing Radha Krishna Leela, and all his limbs, his arms and legs went into his body, and he looked like a tortoise, and he looked like a giant pumpkin. And when they chanted the holy name, his limbs came out, and he told them what he was seeing of Radha Krishna Leela. Krishna Shabde Gune Prabhurmana Akarshila Kastriyangate Shlokara Arta Aveshikorila. That chapter also tells how the attributes of Krishna's sound attracted the mind of Mahaprabhu, who then described in ecstasy the meaning of Kastriyangate verse. Kastriyangate verse. Baba Shabalye Puna Koila Pralapan Karnamrita Shlokararta Koila Vivaran. The 17th chapter, so that Kastri Anga, the word Stri means woman, so how Krishna enchants everyone, right? The 17th chapter also tells how Mahaprabhu, due to the conjunction of various ecstatic emotions, again began speaking like a madman and described in detail the meaning of a verse from Krishna Karnamrita. Ashtadasa Parichede Samudre Patan Krishna Gopi Jalakeli Tahan Darshan. In the 18th chapter is an account of how the Lord fell into the ocean and in ecstasy saw in a dream the pastimes of a water fight between Krishna and the gopis. So he mistook the sea for the Jamuna, and he's floating in the sea all night, and then when he came out of his ecstasy and resumed his normal form, he told how he's seeing Krishna and the gopis enter in the Jamuna in a water fight that took place. Tahai Dekila Krishnera Banya Bojan Jalia Utaila Prabhu Aila Swabhavan. In that dream, Mahaprabhu saw Krishna's picnic in the forest. As Mahaprabhu floated in the sea, a fisherman caught him, and then the Lord returned to his own residence. All this is recounted in the 18th chapter. Una vimshe bikye prabhur mukha sangarshan krishneras viraha swarti pralapa varnan. The 19th chapter is a description of how Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against the walls and spoke like a madman because of separation from Krishna. So they put Damodar Pandit's brother, Shankar Pandit, in the room, who would stay in the room all night with Mahaprabhu to keep him from hurting himself. Vashanta Rajanite Pushpodhyane Viharan Krishnana Saurabhya Shlokar Artha Vivaran. That chapter also describes how Krishna's wandering in a garden on a spring. That chapter also describes Krishna's wandering in a garden on a spring night, and it fully describes the meaning of a verse about the scent of Krishna's body. And that's the chapter that has a nice verse that says, Krishna has opened a perfume shop, and all the women of the world are attracted and go to that perfume shop, but then they become blind by the perfume, and can't find their way home again. So it's a nice description. Vimsha parichede nija sikshastika pariya tara artha ashwadila prema vishta hoya. The 20th chapter tells how Mahaprabhu recited his own 8 verses of instruction, the Sikshastika, and tasted their meaning in ecstatic love. Bhakti Shikaite Jay, Sikshastika Kohila, Se Shloka Stakera Artha Puna Ashwadila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu composed those 8 stanzas to instruct the devotees, but he also personally tasted their meaning. Mukhya Mukhya Lilara Artha Korilun Katan, Anubad Hoite Smari Granta Vivaran. I have thus repeated the principal pastimes and their meaning, for by such repetition one can remember the descriptions in the book. Ek paricheder kata aneka prakar mukhya mukhya kohilun kata najai bishtar. In every chapter there are various topics, but I have repeated only those that are principal, for not all of them could be described again. Shri Radha Saha, Shri Madana Mohan, Shri Radha Saha, Shri Govinda Charan, Shri Radha Saha, Shri Srila, Shri Gopinath, 18 Thakur, Hoy Godi Charanath. The Vrindavan deities of Madan Mohan was Srimati Radharani, Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radha Govinda, and Shri Radha Gopinath are the life and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Juta Nityananda, Shri Advaita Acharya, Shri Varabhakta Vrinda, Shri Swarup, Shri Rupa, Shri Sanatan, Shri Guru, Shri Raghunath, Shri Jiva Charan, Nitya Shire Doriye Sabara Charan, Jaha Hoite Hoy Sab, Vanchita Puran. So that my desires may be fulfilled, I place the lotus feet of these personalities on my head. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya, and their devotees, as well as Sri Swarup Damodar, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master, and Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was the instructing spiritual master, or Siksha Guru, of Krishnadas Kaviraj, and has therefore been described as Sri Guru. Sabar Chanana Kripa Guru Upadhyayi Morabane Sishyatare Bahuta Nachai. The mercy of their lotus feet is my spiritual master, and my words are my disciples, whom I have made dance in various ways. Sishyara Shramadeki Guru Nachana Rakila Kripana Nachai Bani Basya Rohila. Sing the fatigue of the disciples, the spiritual master has stopped them. Sing the fatigue of the disciples, the spiritual master has stopped making them dance, and because that mercy no longer makes them dance, my words now sit silently. Ani Puna Bani Apane Nachite Nachani Jata Nachai Nachailanache korela vishrame. My inexperienced words do not know how to dance by themselves. The mercy of the Guru made them dance as much as possible, and now after dancing they have taken rest. Sab Shrotagane Kore Charana Bandhan Jan Sabar Charana Kripa Shubhara Karan. I now worship the lotus feet of all my readers, for by the mercy of their lotus feet there is all good fortune. Chaitanya Charitamrita Jaijan Shune Tarachanana Dunya Karan Muipane. If one hears the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I wash his lotus feet and drink the water. Shrotara Parabrenu Karun Mastaka Bhushan Tomara E Amrita Pile Safala Hoila Shrama. I decorate my head with the dust of the lotus feet of my audience. Now you have all drunk this water, and therefore my labor is successful. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijara As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Pray at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishna Das narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Charitam Amritam Ethats Srila Chaitanya Vishnu Shubhadam Ashubhanashi Shradayas Varayetyaha Tad Amala Pada Padme Bringatam Etya Soyam Rasayati Rasam Uchai Prema Madhvika Puram. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and invokes all good fortune and destroys everything inauspicious. If one tastes the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee tasting the honey of transcendental love from his lotus feet. Shriman Marana Gopal Govind Deva Tushtaye Chaitanyarpitam Ashtre Shriman Marana Gopal Govinda Deva Tushtaye Chaitanyarpitam Ashtvetat Chaitanya Charitamritam. Since this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, is now complete, having been written for the satisfaction of the most opulent deities, Madan Mohan Ji and Govinda Ji, let it be offered at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Dev. Parimal Basita Bhuvanam Svarason Madita Rasagya Rolambam Giridara Charanam Bojam Kakalu Rasika Sami Hate Hatum. Realized devotees are like bumblebees mad by their own mellows at Krishna's lotus feet, who are tasting rasa at Krishna's lotus feet. The scent of those lotus feet perfumes the entire world. Who is the realized soul that could give them up? That could give up that? Who could give this up? Okay. Shake Sinvagni Vanendo Jaiste Vrindavan. Shake Sinvagni Vanendo Jaiste Vrindavanantare Surya He Shita Panchamyam Grantoyam Purnatagata. In Vrindavan, in the year 1537, Shakabda era, in the month of Jaishta, May, June, on Sunday, the 5th day of the waning moon, this Chaitanya Charitamrita has been completed. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anjalila, 20th chapter, describing the meaning of the Sikshastaka and how the Lord tasted it himself. One, two, three. There's 3 pages concluding words of Srila Prabhupada. So we're finished with the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm going to read those pages. I hope it won't go too long, but let's see. Let's just see. Concluding words. Today, Sunday, November 10th, 1974, corresponding to the 10th of Kartik Chaitanya Hadar 488. The 11th, so that would be 1496 minus 12, like 1470. 1974, Okay, yes, he tells the day. Today, Sunday, November 10th, 1974, corresponding to the 10th of Kartik, Chaitanya era 488, the 11th day of the dark fortnight of the Rama Ekadasi, we have now finished the English translation of Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in accordance with the authorized order of His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj, my beloved eternal spiritual master, guide, and friend. Although, according to material vision, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada passed away from this material world on the last day of December 1936, I still consider His Divine Grace to be always present with me by His Vani, His words. There are two ways of association, by Vani and by Vapu. Vani means words and Vapu means physical presence. Physical presence is sometimes appreciable and sometimes not, but Vani continues to exist eternally. Therefore, we must take advantage of the Vani, not the physical presence. The Bhagavad Gita, for example, is the Vani of Lord Krishna. Although Krishna was personally present 5,000 years ago, and is no longer physically present from the materialistic point of view, the Bhagavad Gita continues. In this connection, we may call to memory the time when I was fortunate enough to meet His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada sometime in the year 1922. Srila Prabhupada had come to Calcutta from Sridham Mayapur to start the missionary activities of the Gaudiya Math. He was sitting in a house at Uttadanga when, through the inducement of an intimate friend, the late Sriman Narendranath Malik, I had the opportunity to meet His Divine Grace for the first time. I do not remember the actual date of the meeting, but at that time I was one of the managers of Dr. Bosch's laboratory in Calcutta. I was a newly married young man, addicted to Gandhi's movement and dressed in khadi. Fortunately, even at our first meeting, His Divine Grace advised me to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English in the Western countries, because at that time I was a complete nationalist, a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. I submitted to His Divine Grace that unless our country were freed from foreign subjugation, no one would hear the message of Mahaprabhu seriously. Of course, we had some argument on this subject, but at last I was defeated and convinced that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is the only panacea for suffering humanity. I was also convinced that the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was then in the hands of a very expert devotee, and that surely the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spread all over the world. I could not, however, immediately take up his instructions to preach, but I took his words very seriously and was always thinking of how to execute his order, although I was quite unfit to do so. In this way, I passed my life as a householder until 1950, when I retired from family life as a vanaprastha. With no companion, I loitered here and there until 1958, when I took sannyas. Then I was completely ready to discharge the order of my spiritual master. Previously, in 1936, just before His Divine Grace passed away at Jagannath Puri, I wrote him a letter asking what I could do to serve him. In reply, he wrote me a letter dated 13 December 1936, ordering me in the same way to preach in English the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as I heard it from him. Anyway, sorry to get a little emotional about this, but, being with Srila Prabhupada, I remember things. After he passed away, I started the fortnightly magazine Back to Godhead sometime in 1944 and tried to preach the cult Mahaprabhu through this magazine. After I took sannyas, a well-wishing friend suggested I write books instead of magazines. Magazines, he said, might be thrown away, but books remain perpetually. Then I attempted to write Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, when I was a householder, I had written on Srimad Bhagavad Gita and had completed about 1,100 pages, but somehow or other the manuscript was stolen. In any case, when I had published Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto in 3 volumes in India, I thought of going to the USA. By the mercy of His Divine Grace, I was able to come to New York on September 17, 1965. Since then, I have translated many books, including Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Summary, and many others. In the meantime, I was induced to translate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and publish it in an elaborate version. In his leisure time in later life, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would simply read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was his favorite book. He used to say that there would be a time when foreigners would learn the Bengali language to read the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So at least, you know, Shuddha Shravan, he learned something in Bengali to read. And he published the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The work on this translation began about 18 months ago. Now, by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and His Divine Grace Bhakti Srila, in His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it is finished. In this connection, I have to thank my American disciples, especially Shriman Pradyumna Das Adhikari, Shriman Nitai Das Adhikari, Shriman Jayadvaita Das Brahmachari, and many other boys and girls who are sincerely helping me in writing, editing, and publishing all these literatures. I think that His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is always seeing my activities and guiding me within my heart by his words. As it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tane Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaye. Spiritual inspiration comes from within the heart, wherein the Supreme Personality of God and in His Paramatma feature is always sitting with all His devotees and associates. Tane Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaye Bhuyanti Yat Surya. It is to be admitted that whatever translation work I have done is through the inspiration of my spiritual master, because personally I am most insignificant and incompetent to do this materially impossible work. I do not think myself a very learned scholar, but I have full faith in the service of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If there is any credit to my activities of translating, it is all due to His Divine Grace. Certainly, if His Divine Grace were physically present at this time, it would have been a great occasion for jubilation. But even though He is not physically present, I am confident that He is very much pleased by this work of translation. He was very fond of seeing many books published to spread the Krishna conscious movement. Therefore, our society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has been formed to execute the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we're also trying to put all the books into online and available. And now we have the books of Srila Sridhar's Search for Sri Krishna, Sri Guru and His Grace, Golden Volcano, and now we also have the Bhagavad Gita online, which is
print on demand. Print on demand.
Yeah. So we can just ask for 20 of them, 10 of them, and we can get them. I'll show you the Bhagavad Gita. It's very nice. It is my wish that devotees of Lord Chaitanya all over the world enjoy this translation, and I am glad to express my gratitude to the learned men in the Western countries who are so pleased with my work that they are ordering in advance all my books that will be published in the future. On this occasion, therefore, I request my disciples who are determined to help me in this work to continue their cooperation fully, so that philosophers, scholars, religionists, and people in general all over the world will benefit by reading our transcendental literature such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thus, and the Bhaktivedanta reports the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita dated November 10, 1974, at the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, Hare Krishna Land, Juhu, Bombay. So, super nice. I lived at Juhu, at that center, for about a year when it was first starting. So, anyway, as I was saying, this is books on demand. That's also very nice, and we're trying to, because sometimes it's now that there's so much difficulty going on in India, we're trying to make all the books available that anyone can ask for. Oh, I want one copy or two. Now, if and then we can ask the printer, and it takes about 2 or 3 weeks for us to get the books, but we can order what we want. Or somebody or they're also going to be put on, they're also on Amazon, and you can buy them on Amazon. They're on Amazon. Some people are buying them that way. They're more than double the cost, or triple the cost. They're more expensive than what we would pay, but people who just see the book and want it, they order it from Amazon. They're up there. And we can get all the books up there. We could even get English, Spanish, we can get any books online that we want, as long as there are books that we have the copyrights to them. Yeah?
Raj, are we gonna do home comfort and those little books that are great for distribution?
We may do them, but we can't do them in that small format so easily. For those books, it's better to just find a printer who will print them and do a lot of them if you want to distribute them, because they're going to be more expensive and they'll be in a different format in books on demand, because even our Bhagavad Gita is not the little size. It's like almost the size of, it's almost the size of this. We made the type bigger so you don't have to squint your eyes to read it, and it's thick because it's 400 and some pages, and it's about almost the size of this book, but it's not as thick as this book. But
There's some available here already printed to purchase, or?
well, not exactly. We have three. We got 3 advanced copies. I have 2 of them. I can show you one of them. But we can order them. You know, we could order
And they're
them.
ready now to be ordered.
Yeah.
And then
It just take a couple weeks. So.
As far as inner fulfillment, we're working on that. Marsh did has laid it out so we can print. We actually just need to meet with Sarlo. We're planning to print them, but we also need to get some funds.
Yeah,
together
anybody
for that.
wants to distribute small books, that's the way to go, because print on demand will make them bigger, first of all, and more costly. You know? Yeah?
Do we have, I know on the SES mod, there's a lot of the books you can print on PDF or ebooks.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if we have those on our website as well.
I don't know if we do on our, yeah, but those are not the ones that we've done on print on demand. No, they're just
PDF.
They're just PDF. Yeah, you can get them, I guess. I didn't know that. All right, so we're done with the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tomorrow we'll start Chaitanya Bhagavad. All right. And I thought the words of Srila, I had this mic off to the side, and I don't speak out of the left side of my mouth, I speak out of the right side of my mouth. So could people hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Who said yes?
For mine.
For mine, oh, okay. Well, he's right next to us.
No, he was in the kitchen.
I was in the kitchen most of the time.
Okay.
No,
All right, so anyway, there you have it. We're finished for Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, I have about like 1,000 classes of Chaitanya Charitamrita which are recorded, but, you know, they're full of they're full of arguments and